Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody? Welcome to another episode of Roll Around, Find Out. I believe this is episode number 4. And like many before, this should hopefully be one in a series. And this is going to be on Dungeon Master DM resources. And for today, we're going to talk about the trilogy of books by Madeline Hale. I think these should be in any DM's arsenal, as they are super, super cool, super helpful. And for the price, which we'll get into here, if you were to take any one idea from here and to your table, and it caused, a whole session or a theme that carries over for multiple sessions, or an item that a character, a player really loves, I mean, dang, great bang for your buck. So, on Amazon, Fables by Madeline Hale, and I've not done extensive research. Maybe Madeline's got many other resources out there. I just know her from these 3 books. Fables, a collection of tables for the wary game master, is 84 pages for $13.99. We'll say $14 because that's how it should be. Fables 2 is slightly longer, 104 pages for $14. And then the last one, Arcane Artifacts and Curious Curios, 1,000 magical artifacts for Game Masters, will run you $19. So, I would say these are very popular reviews, with reviews in the thousands. All of these books averaging looks like 4.8 stars. So, what you're about to listen to here is probably nothing mind-shattering here. But if I can get the word out to one other person that you have to buy these, then I've done my job. So, we'll get into Fables here. Fables 1 and 2, there's a slight bit of overlap in the tables. One, I know, example is Kingdom Generator. And for the most part, they are completely different. But they do share some similarities. And the second Fables has maybe the same labeled lists, like magic items. But it gives you a list of entirely new options and ideas. So let's jump into Fables number 1. The index, or the table of contents, there are 4 parts. Part 1, characters. Part 2, items. Part 3, areas. And Part 4, miscellaneous. Jumping into Part 1, characters. If for some reason you are completely struggling with what type of character to build, there are tables for race, gender, age, the disposition, the alignment, religion, and financial status. This is, I would say, pretty themed towards Dungeons and Dragons, because for race it has human, half-elf, elf, orc, half-orc, gnome, halfling, and dwarf. Though absent would be half-elf, and tiefling, maybe others that I'm missing. Certainly others out of the core group of races, but nice enough to have. Then it's got a list of classes: warrior, bard, barbarian, sorcerer, warlock. Then it has a D20 for class. Oh, this would be NPC class. Okay, here we go. Tavern keeper, merchant, noble, weaver, blacksmith, shepherd. Character traits, a D100. They could be cute. They could be dignified. They could be moody, paranoid, shy, stoic, tasteful, tasteless. D100 for disabilities and character quirks. We've got coward, illiterate, very unlucky. Player feels the need to set off any trap they come across. Very outspoken, gambling addiction, kleptomania. 2 D100s for female names and male names. Character title generator. There are 2 D12s that you combine together. Let's just say I roll a 3 for each. I could be the able eye. I could be the clever ear. I could be the wary toe. Character backgrounds, D20. List of backgrounds. You are a member of a small nomadic clan that is well known for its trade in rich furs and exotic spices. You have been accused of murdering the king, but the truth of that accusation is up for debate. You are on the run now, drifting from town to town and shifting one disguise after another until you clear your name. Very cool. Character past generator. Your parents, are they alive, dead, or somewhere in between? Place of birth, your sexuality, your childhood, your siblings, romantic status. Appearance generator. Height, build, eye color, hair color, clothing, scars. Let's look at some scars here. A thick red scar runs from right shoulder to left hip. Ooh. Missing the last segment of one finger. We've got tattoos, a stylized mountain range, an animal skull, a crossed out name. All right, that is character generation. Certainly not going to go over every single table and every option in here, but just, 1 or 2 from each that I think are worthy to go over. Next section, part 2, items. You've got weapons, armor, pocket fillers. So if you're looting a body, what's in their pockets? The examples are 1d10 loose buttons, flint and steel, a set of bone dice, D100 of mundane treasure, a basket made of woven silver, a box of copper nails, a set of ivory playing dice, a small lovely harp in a leather case, a solid glass orb the size of an apple, a small golden tablet engraved with strange runes, a black statuette of a woman feeding crows, various knickknacks and flavor items, this is a D100, a small glowing star encased in a glass sphere, a small doll made from wood and horsehair, a large unfamiliar insect sealed in amber, a jar of horn buttons suspended in alcohol, a charcoal sketch of your mother, a wooden fan that produces no breeze when waved. Interesting. A D100 of magic items. A flask made from a 6-inch segment of bamboo. It seems to hold an infinite amount of anything that will fit inside. Like a bag of holding, but maybe better. That would fit inside, so maybe not. A ragged square of paper that offers snarky and sarcastic advice on your current quest in bright red ink. A feathered mask with circular tinted lenses. When standing still, the wearer is very difficult to see. Lovely black dancing shoes. When certain elaborate dances are performed, the wearer is transported to a plane specific to the dance. Magic items, continuing the D100, past 50 are weapons. A gray longbow. A ghostly arrow appears notched on the string whenever the bow is drawn. A sentient kunai named Chihi. She is very lucky, but can only be used while wearing clean gloves. Interesting. A set of 4 bright red throwing darts that have a chance of inflicting a random magical effect. A large glass sphere. When released, it will fly through the air, crashing into enemies until it shatters. More scavenging items. Before it was like pickpocketing items or looting the body. Here we have more so things that wouldn't be in a pocket. You find a pile of rubble, and it could be 1d10 books, scrap paper, beeswax, candle wick, rabbit pelts, glass mugs, various ingots of metals, raw wood, bowls, plates, iron chain, a wooden comb, soap, grass sandals, a chess set, oil and lanterns, a D100 of books, The History of Root Farming by Arl Fedwin, Gardening in Clay by Milton, Witches and Witchcraft by Melissa Gerardat. That's how I pronounce that. Magical books. A book that contains an amazingly proficient language learning program. A blank book with nothing but eyes drawn on the cover in ink. Anyone who looks upon the blank pages goes blind for 1d20 minutes. Songs for the Violin by Edgar Edge. This book is full of sheet music, and lovely violin music floats quietly from the book when opened. Random tables for potions. Label, appearance, taste, and effect. Just a couple effects here. Potion of Hunger. The consumer will not suffer the ill effects of hunger or thirst for 1d4 days. Potion of Jump. Lets the consumer jump 2d12 feet with ease for 1d6 hours. Potion of Taste. For 1d4, any food consumed after this potion tastes fantastic. Tonic of Kindness. The user loses the ability to feel pain for 1d4 hours. Interesting. Food. This would have been great to have in one of my campaigns to spice up the menu at my tavern. Breakfast, pancake with bacon. Lunch, chicken and eggs with rice. Dinner, fish stew. There are sweets, beverages, spices. And that is it for items. Here we have part 3 areas. We've got charts or tables for weather. Here's Kingdom Generator, which is also in Tables Fables 2. What is the primary race? What is the size of the kingdom? What's the terrain like? What is its government type, religion, military tendencies? Long list, D100 for quests. We've got an ogre has taken up residence under a bridge. The local mayor offers the players a reward for slaying it. Classic starting adventure. A young nun has been kidnapped by a black magic heretic intent on using her as a sacrifice. The temple does not have much to offer as a reward, but they offer what they can for the nun's safe return. An undead lich has misplaced his head and has fallen to the level of asking the players for help. That's funny. An undiscovered island has been spotted off the coast. However, anyone sent to chart to the isle never returns. I like that one a lot. The players wake up with no memory of the past week. Each player has a matching cult tattoo somewhere on their body and a bounty on their head. That's awesome. A ghost ship has been seen off the coast at night. During the day, corpses of missing sailors wash up on shore. Very cool. Dungeon settings, a d20. Could be a natural cave, a salt mine, a young forest, a wizard's tower, a live volcano. D100 list of hostile encounters. A group of staving, laughing hyenas surround the party. A swarm of pixies harass the players, trying to steal locks of hair. The players feel as though they are being followed. If they investigate, they will discover a gray creature that morphs into a perfect copy of one party member before attacking. The players pass colorful mushrooms that let out a puff of paralyzing spores as they pass. I like that. Large fire-breathing salamanders crawl out of the sand. A group of city guards question the party about stolen items that look suspiciously like the ones carried by the players. Let's see. Non-combat encounters and micro-events. In a dungeon, the party hears loud weeping. The players encounter a dark hole in the wall. Water trickles from inside, and the hole is just big enough to crawl through. These are all extra added details that in anybody's campaign just really make it come alive. For city events, a manhunt is being held. A woman staggers towards players before collapsing to the street. A drunk man picks a fight with the largest member of the party. Wilderness events. The body of a humanoid hangs from a tree by the roadside. A severe storm rolls in. The players stumble across a hunter's camp. The players pass 3 acolytes making a pilgrimage. Sea events. A heavy storm rolls in. A mutiny is staged. A sickness spreads through the crew. Sharks circle the boat. A D20 for festivals. Picking Maiden Festival. Held in the early summer, this is a celebration for young girls and unmarried women. Revelers often drink rose tea and eat a traditional strawberry cake. A tavern generator. There are 2 D12 lists on here. One is one word plus another. One is one word and then and in the middle. So we could be the roasted rat. We could be the windy violin. We could be the silken tome. Torn cloak. Variant names is with and. We could be the pot and kettle. We could be the mill and crook. We could be the sheep and hunter. We got a table for the quality of the inn, the cost of the inn, the atmosphere of the inn. All right, then we have part 4, miscellaneous. Last big section here. Here we have magical ritual generator. So maybe the party stumbles across a cult, casting some spell. We've got a D20 list for spell components. Human blood, grave dirt, tea leaves, holy water. Verbal components. A loud, wordless cry. The words, by the blood of my blood, by the power I wield. Semantic components. The mage slowly swings their dominant arm in a clockwise half circle. The mage holds their hands together as if cupping water. D100 list for magical effects. The target falls to the ground and appears to be dead for 1d4 minutes. The target grows permanent black claws. The target becomes very dehydrated as a light rain begins to fall. The target leaks honey from their facial orifices for 1d12 minutes. Yuck. 1d100 curses. The target transforms into a songbird during the full moon. The target cannot place both feet on the ground simultaneously. All precious metals touched by the target turns to white feathers. The target becomes unbelievably clumsy. Demonic glowing writing is constantly being painfully carved into the target's skin before quickly fading. A disease generator. D20 for symptoms. Chest pain, constipation, eye redness, coma, sore throat. Severity, fatal, occasionally fatal, severe, common. Illness name generator. We could get the screaming plague, the grave flu, the dog virus. I like that. Dream table. You dream that you are singing a holy song while your father plays an accompaniment on a mandolin. You dream that you are very, very small, exploring your childhood home from the perspective of a mouse. You dream you are fighting a powerful mage. When the time comes to strike the final blow, you fall boneless to the ground, unable to move. Nightmares. This is the last 50 on the dreams table. You dream you are in a deep well filling with water. There is a ladder, but you can never make it far before falling back into the water. You dream that because of your failure, a companion is injured. They die painfully in your arms. You dream of a burning pain in your chest. You left your shirt to find a huge hole in your chest with a burning ball of moss and twigs tucked inside. A table for drawing a card out of a deck of cards if you don't have it. And this might be the last one, a tarot card table. I've never used tarot cards, but it's a D20, so I'm hoping there's 20 cards in a tarot deck. Oh, then the very last is a random color and random metals. That's obviously very quick, but Table Fables, great resource for any DM. Tables Fables 2, this one will go quicker because a lot of the categories are just the same. It expands on the tables that were already there. There are definitely more categories or chapters in here. There are adventures, wilderness and travel, ships, islands, and ocean travel, NPCs and enemies, items, dungeons, buildings, towns and cities, worlds and kingdoms, and religion. Alright, Tables Fables 2, Chapter 1, Quests and Adventures. A D100 list. Years ago, a sorcerer trapped a cruel, powerful witch in a pit outside of town with his magic. Now the sorcerer has passed away, and his protective spells have started to wear off. Rumors say a mysterious witch is traveling the country, selling powerful curses for cheap. A large bounty has been placed on the witch's head, though no one is exactly sure who she is or what she looks like. The capital city is under siege, and the party is trapped inside. After a player is infected by a rare and poisonous fungus, The party's only hope is to find a cult of reclusive druids. I like this one. Conditions for an adventure. A D8 table. Maybe there is a time limit where the party must move swiftly. Lost. At some point during the quest, the party becomes horribly lost. Betrayed. At some point during the campaign, the party is betrayed by a friend or acquaintance. A D8 for villain motives. Revenge, greed, romance, fame, justice, desperation, knowledge, or under orders. Rewards for these quests. There are 3 tiers, each a D8. If it's a low-level quest, players might get 1 D20 silver. Could get a night of food and drink. Or maybe it gets, on tier 3, 2 D100 gold pieces. A squire, a noble title. Chapter 2, Wilderness and Travel. Here we have types of roads and the activity level for it. The safety. D100 of road events and encounters. Go over some of these. The characters stumble across a wounded young soldier desperately fending off a handful of bandits. A merchant cart has broken down and is in the road. A violent wind picks up. The players encounter a couple gnomes gathered around a map. They seem to be arguing over directions. This next one here, landmarks. A D100. If you are a DM and you are building your own world, this table right here, I think, is fabulous. If you're building from complete scratch, everybody has their process, but I would think you would start with the general lay of the land. If you're doing just, a small area with maybe 2 or 3 towns, start with that. Then the geography. Is it mountainous, hilly, wooded, desert? If you have more than that, you're starting with a whole continent or a whole world. Great. You'll get general, broad aspects of the geography. Then you'll probably start pop marking in towns, cities, start connecting them by roads or rivers. And once you've got those main things out of the way, then you really got to start making your world come to life. And so these landmarks can really help with that. Keep them on the main travel routes or make them visible from a distance. Your players aren't going to just leave the trail unless they're hiding and go really, really far off. It's not like if you've ever played Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where Link is just traveling all over. He does start by following the roads on his horse, and then because of the shrines that are there, he starts to leave the road and explore other places. Now, that's a major premise of that game, but also in Breath of the Wild, you can see Death Mountain almost anywhere on the map. You can't really see Hyrule Castle, but once you get some divine beasts, they're shooting their lasers at, or whatever it is, down to Hyrule Castle, and almost anywhere on the map you can see that. And so you have to give your players a reason to want to explore these areas. So reading just a couple of these D100 landmarks. Altar to the Wild God. An altar stands, quietly overgrown with grass and vines. Cabbage moths flit around stones carved in the god's likeness, and flowers bloom regardless of the weather. Ooh, I like this one. An ancient battlefield. For 2 miles, swords, shields, spears, and bones poke from the ground like strange flowers. A battle was fought here long ago, and some say that undead soldiers still roam the fields. I mean, seriously. Put that in your game now. Forest of Cats. The Old Forest is known for its thousands upon thousands of feral cats. Many consider this forest to be sacred. A ruined town. The bones of an old town stand in this part of the region. Every local has a different story. Most say it was raided by bandits, but a few believe the town was cursed. Shipwreck. A shipwreck pokes out of the water half a mile from shore. Hot spring. A natural hot spring bubbles up out of the ground. A large rocky pool has formed around it, and people travel for miles to visit the healing waters. Cave of Stars. From the outside, the cave looks pretty much like any other. However, at night, an unearthly aquamarine glow emanates from the damp depths. Bioluminescent algae hang from the ceiling, reflecting off the pools of the water on the floor. And then a classic, an obelisk. A huge stone obelisk pierces the sky. It's made of a very shiny black stone, and it boasts no carvings or plaques to give a hint to its history or purpose. I'm sort of kind of world building for a campaign that may or may not happen. Just have that creative itch. And I'm thinking I need something like that. These obelisks, just put them in random spots, and then eventually players can use them for fast travel. I think that is something I'm going to add. Alright, we've got tables for foraging. We've got finding food, water, animals, plants, questionable plants, and the effects of these plants. Could cause hallucinations, break out in hives, player falls asleep, is cured of all poison, feels very emotional for 1d4 hours. Chapter 3, Ships, Islands, and Ocean Travel. Ocean weather, ocean events and encounters, a d20. Could be a mutiny. Could be a number of crew members fall ill. The party must quickly learn how to take their places. A party member suffers from seasickness. A ship generator. Its type, its cargo, its name, its size, decor, condition, reputation. Tables for the captain and the crew. Supplies. An island generator. Could be barren, tundra, rocky, inhabited, not inhabited. How many towns? What is it notable for? Chapter 4, NPCs and Enemies. As an NPC generator, gender, age, race, social standing, occupation, height, alignment, clothing. Notable features like a scar or a stutter. Has a goal for the NPC and a secret that it has. Could be that this NPC has an addiction, is dying of an illness, is secretly married. Enemy encounters. Roll for how many enemies, the mood of these enemies, and the condition that they're in. Are they good, sick or diseased, or wounded? Chapter 5, more items. We've got pocket fillers. If you came across a body, what would be in their pockets? It's things like a paper packet of matches, a set of silverware, a book, a folded hat. This list was also in Table Fables 1. Different items on here, but similar titled. Coins, gems, treasures, more magical items. read just one here. Telepathic die. A 6-sided die that lands on whatever number the user wishes. That seems very powerful. D20 for magical weapons. Read one. A simple and elegant sentient longsword. She is so quiet that many users never realize she is alive. If the user is able to make friends with the uncooperative sword, she will make sure the user rarely misses a strike. Whoa. More books. D20. Tables for apparel people are wearing. More knickknacks. D20 for tools. Got a D6 here. 3 different lists. D6 for animal products. I was trying to think of ways I could get my players to engage more in travel other than just like meaningful encounters. Is if you really made them like hunt for food, and even with enemies, if they are like a beast in nature, let them take some time and what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say scrounge, but like craft and scrounge for these items that can be sold or made into things. Like, you should have an NPC in every town looking for some type of bone. They need bones for a spell. They need bones for broth for a soup. They need fur, for the they need animal skin for the leathers. Things like that. So give them stuff to do all along the route. I think that's something that I need to implement more in my games. Chapter 6, page 57, we have dungeons. We've got a dungeon generator, which it's got a range of themes here. Could be a tomb, a temple, a natural cave, a stronghold, a castle, a prison, a tower. Notables for these dungeons could have mold. A toxic black mold grows in the corners of this structure. Those who linger too long in the vicinity begin to suffer a cough and fever. Could have a cache. At one point, thieves used the dungeon as a treasure cache. Could be infested. The dungeon suffers from an infestation of biting gnats, scratching locusts, or diseased rats. It's got the interior of a dungeon where you can make rooms, hallways, or a unique room. And it's got drawings for room shapes. So if you needed to on the fly, you could roll and easily make a 5-room dungeon using the shapes provided. It's got tables for doors, stairs, dungeon events and encounters, a D20. It's got, let's see... The characters encounter a deep well. A rope hangs over the side. Presumably, there is a bucket at the end, but it is too dark to see the bottom. Water nymphs live in the underground lake and will occasionally cling to the bucket to get pulled up by wandering adventurers. Very cool. The characters encounter a stone fountain built into the wall. The fountainhead was carved in the likeliness of an old man's face, and the water slowly trickles from his lips into a mossy basin. The water is warm and very sulfurous, and anyone who drinks it will feel queasy for 1d4 hours. A woefully thin and bedraggled half-elf pounces the characters. He will not hurt the players, but he will make an attempt to steal the food they carry. Alright, dungeon events. Chapter 7, Part 2, World Building. So if you're generating your own town, we've got buildings. Is it residential or commercial? Municipal, military, religious. What's it made out of? The building material. How many stories? Is there a basement? How old is it? For a house, how many people live there? What's the financial status of the people that live there? Condition of the house. Details for these houses, these buildings. An apple tree in stands behind the house. The apples are sweet and bees swarm the fallen fruit. The floor is tiled with hundreds of small stones, painstakingly laid in intricate detail. Quirks. The home has a dark history. The house always seems to be a comfortable temperature. The floors of this home are always very, very cold. A shop generator. D20 for that. Tailor, barber, jeweler, tavern, inn, weaver, wine cellar, butcher, fishmonger, grocer, blacksmith, art gallery, scribe, locksmith, carpenter, doctor, fur merchant. Talks about prices, whether they have the item in stock. Quirks for the shops. The shop owner is always drinking, often asleep at the register, is closed during the day. Whole towns and cities. We can roll for a town name. Let's see, we got 2d12s here. We could be Kings Point. We could be Winter Beach. We've got May Heights. The size of it, is it a small hamlet, village, town, city? What's the quality of life? What's the government type? Do they have any exports? What's the architecture like? D20, what's the history of the town? D100 list for notables of the town. Fight ring. The town is home to a very large and rather well-known fight ring. If asked, the town officials will deny knowledge of any such thing. Color-coded. All of the town's buildings conform to a color code. The effect is striking and quite lovely. Blackberries. Blackberry bushes surround the town. In the summer, their sweet scent fills the air. Blackberry pie and jam are the town's specialty. City events and encounters. We got a big D100 list here. Someone dumps a bucket of waste from a second-story building. The party suffers a 50% chance of being hit. A trio of guards begin to question them thoroughly. Someone has been robbing a merchant, and the guards are convinced it was one of the players. The party hears loud crying. An unattended infant is sitting in a basket of cabbages. A party member bumps into an old friend. A party member bumps into an old lover. Rumors of a war draft are beginning to circulate. A knight storms through town looking for his lost horse. All right. Kingdom generator. Now this list is, I think, almost exactly the same. Nope, that's a lie. There was another one that was almost taken verbatim from Fables 1. This is different details. It's got a D20 for the name of the kingdom, size of the kingdom, type of terrain for the kingdom, their export, their economy, government type, tables for their military strength. If there's a newspaper, headline news. The harvest was poor this year. There is a scandal in the king's court. The king has fallen ill. A D20 for the history of the realm, the kingdom. Assassination. During a dinner party, the country's ruler was assassinated. Boom. The country saw a period of economic growth that resulted in the dramatic improvement of living standards and a reduction in poverty in the country. Lists for natural disasters and their severity. A list of tables for wars that may be going on in the kingdom. It's got a planet generator. That's interesting. Chapter 10, we're almost done here, for religion. It's got gods, the gods' alignment, their rank in the pantheon, what are they a god of, how they communicate, and their attitude. So let's say I roll 5 for each. The name of the god is Boreal. It is lawful neutral, and it is a lesser god. It is the god of the wind, mothers, and spring flowers. It can't roll 5 here, it's a d4. It rarely communicates with their followers and has an attitude of hasty and angry. So midnight mothers, spring showers, rarely talks, but when it does, it's hasty and angry. That's funny. Appearance, what does it appear as? Let's see, sticking with 5. Often appears as an elderly man with a long beard, a golden triangle painted on his forehead. It's got tables for cults that would worship that god. And I think that is it. That is Tables, Fables 2. Lots of really great ideas in there. Not all, I think, for world building, but the parts that are in there, if you sprinkle those across your campaign, I mean, it just adds to the realism, gives players more to interact with. If you're running a 100% sandbox campaign, I mean, these tools are invaluable. The last book and the largest book, I will go over the least, though for me personally, it's arguably my favorite. The Arcane Artifacts and Curious Curios. It's 1,000 plus magical items, and for each item, it gives an appearance, what it looks like, the enchantment, what it does, and its history, where did it come from. In here, it's got, here are all the chapters: jewelry, clothing, armor, weapons, books, journals and scrolls, potion, food and drink, tools, equipment, household objects, containers, trinkets and knickknacks, and other miscellaneous. Instruments, tools, holy relics, natural objects, cards, maps, and furniture. I want to look at cards, dice, and gaming. Page 401. Let me find dice here. Alright, honest cards. Item number 972. That's wild. Honest cards. The appearance. A set of playing cards with the image of a winking sun on the back of each cards. Enchantment. These cards cannot be used to cheat, no matter how hard one tries. These cards are commonly found in large gambling dens to keep the players honest. That's great. Tarot cards, magician's cards. Let's see. Let's just randomly turn to a page. Okay. I don't know what category this is, but page 192, item 435. The Devil's Circle. Appearance. A book bound in black leather. The title is stamped on the cover in red foil in the middle of an ornate summoning circle. Inside is the story of a young lad who summons a devil to aid him in taking revenge against his cruel family. Awesome. The enchantment, if read aloud, the user has a high chance of successfully summoning a demon. Awesome. History. This book was written by Pinora Lian, but was quickly banned after dozens of demons were summoned into the mortal plane. Many wondered how Pinora Lian, an author, came across such accurate summoning rituals. This book I like to just sit and read casually. As mentioned in other podcasts, I run D&D for after school and summer school programs. And you give a kid a magic item that does something unique, it just empowers their character. And so many of them are hesitant to roleplay. They really just love combat. And so when you give them a book like that, you better believe they're going to summon a demon. And while I may not want them to go home and say, Mom, Dad, I summoned a demon in D&D club at school. You know, that's a conversation to have later. But the kid's excited about it. The DM hopefully has, you know, the ability to come up with a cool demon. What does it look like? What are its powers? Where does it come from? Maybe it's a happy demon. Maybe it's a demon that just comes and goes away. Maybe it's a demon that wrecks the town they're in, and now that's what the players have to spend the rest of the day, week, whatever, trying to do. So, while there are magic items in Tables, Fables 1 and 2, this one just, I think, is super cool, worth the $19 or $20. They're all great, but this one's my personal favorite. So, thank you, Madeline Hale. I will probably buy any product that you make, which I did kind of do a cursory search. If I click her name on Amazon, she does have other books. She's got Table Fables Modern, a collection of tables. Slow computer here. Tables for the Weary Game Master. Let's see. A collection of tables for weary game masters. I want to know, is it for the modern era? Yeah, okay. Modern or near future times. Looking at the cover, which you can't judge a book by the cover, there's no way I would look at that and say, oh, that is for modern role-playing. It looks like a very vintage cover with books and like twigs and branches on there. Madeline Hale also has a record-keeping book for GMs, a book of brews and botanicals, a character-keeping journal for players, a book on inns and taverns, pre-made taverns, and the Garden Journal, an illustrated book of plants. Very cool. Now, while I would recommend these to anybody, specifically DMs, players, you know, maybe not so much, but they can read them, get the inspiration, and ask their DM, hey, I'm really looking for a knife. This item looks really cool. You know, if you can find a way to make it happen, great. Having said all that, I've mentioned it in probably every podcast. These are essentially outdated. With AI, you just type in, hey, I need a list of magical items, describe what they look like, their history, and what they do. And within seconds, you'll have lists upon lists of anything you could ever use as a DM, which I 100% get. That is the future. I have embraced it. It has altered my scope of role-playing games, but support a creator. They look unique. They're kind of cartoonish, very colorful. They look great on your shelf. And, you know, with AI, maybe you don't know what to ask. And the biggest takeaway, as much as I love AI, it's impossible to have enough creativity in the world. Use AI as a resource. Use other books as a resource. Your games will only be improved because of it. If you find even one thing you can take away from these books, they're worth their purchase. They'll improve your game, make you a better DM. Just buy them. That's it for this series of DM resources, table fables, and arcane artifacts and curious curios. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Later.